I would say they are not just working for free. Like, they really do bring something valuable to your life and your skill set. The job market is pretty crazy right now, and experience, whether paid or voluntary, is worth more than you think. Hi, my name is Jan, and welcome to the first video in my new series all about career advice, life after university, and upskilling in your 20s. So today we're going to be diving into how to get an internship even if you're shy. And before you click away, I just want to preface that this video is actually made for everyone, no matter what stage you're at. So whether you're in high school, college, maybe you're doing a postgrad, or maybe you're even several years already into your career. Yes, internships can still be an option, and speaking from experience, because I am currently an intern myself whilst I'm in between jobs. Why am I interning? Well, there's an industry that I really want to get into, but there's still some areas of my marketing career that I lack. And like I said, the job market is kind of crazy right now, and I feel like this is kind of a nice break after my master's and trying to figure out what role kind of suits me best next. So I just thought I would do a video because I've actually been an intern 5 times in my career so far. I've been an intern at creative NGOs, the film industry, music PR and marketing, and even tech, which is where I am at right now. So I would say each experience gave me some really valuable skills, case studies, and real life projects to add to my CV, which actually helps me land a few of my previous roles. So I would say they are not just working for free. Like, they really do bring something valuable to your life and your skill set. I really do encourage anyone to give these a try, because it gives you a real taste of what your dream job might just look like. And you might want to be a director and then not like working in the film industry, or you might want to be a fashion designer and realize, actually, I'm cut out for something else. And you also get the opportunity to shadow professionals in the field to see how things are done. And trust me, these internships didn't come from being a Nepo baby or because I had previous connections. They happened because I learned to put myself out there and overcome my shyness. And you can too. Yes, shy people can be interns too. So today I will be sharing how you can find an internship, why they're worth it, and my best tips for making the most out of the experience, no matter where you are in your journey and no matter how shy you can be. So here are a few things that we will cover: why internships are important, where to look, how to cold apply and network, what to prepare, how to make the most of your internships, and finally, just a few things to keep in mind, such as cost, location, and balancing your time. The first things first is just kind of understanding why internships are important. So by definition, an internship is the position of a student or trainee who works in an organization, sometimes without pay, in order to gain work experience or satisfy requirements for a qualification. So I would say internships are important because it helps give you exposure to certain experiences and new skill sets that school or perhaps your current role might not actually give you. So it's kind of like dipping your toe in the waters. And it can also help you get your foot into the door of the industry that you like. So even if that means starting with being a runner or even making coffee for the executives, I would say those are some of the most fun experience because you get to be like a fly on the wall. You get to be immersed in the whole scenario of that industry without really having too much responsibility yet. So if you haven't actually had any professional experience before, this is the perfect setting to simulate that. And unlike 1-week internships where you don't necessarily get to cover much ground in that short amount of time, internships that go on for a little bit longer can really set you up for success in future roles. So I would say there are definitely more positives to doing an internship than there are negative ones. So if budget and location is something you're actually worried about, you can also try to ask your mentor or school if there are any grants available. Or perhaps it might require some pre-planning on your side to save up for the experience. So you're probably thinking, oh my god, where do I even look for internships? Well, luckily today there are many more places for you to look for these internships, which includes LinkedIn or Indeed, university boards, office companies and career pages. I would also include TikTok and maybe even Instagram there because I know some companies might advertise them, or there could be a company that you really like and you could just send them a DM and be like, hey, are you offering any internships? And then what I did was actually go to Google search and then I searched up local businesses that I thought I liked, and then I reached out to them. So then that brings me to what is cold applying versus networking. Cold applying is basically responding to a job listing and then applying. So kind of like if you saw something on LinkedIn being advertised, then you contact them. However, networking is perhaps going to an event, engaging with someone from an external school or project, or reaching out to people directly, either online or in person. Networking sounds a little bit more daunting, but honestly, I've done both, and networking has been the one that's kind of given me the best results. It sounds daunting, like I said. I understand how you feel, but trust me, it could be really worthwhile. My very first internship simply came from asking one of the leads we were working with at a school project if they were even offering an internship. And this was not just any company, it was quite a big company, so that was kind of nerve-wracking. However, the conversation simply went, "Hey, are you offering an internship?" And she said, "Yeah, maybe. Email me afterwards, here's my card." And that still has to be one of the best experiences I've had, even if it was only like a week. My next internship, a few years later, ran for a few months in my third year of university, and then also cut into COVID time, so I was occupied with that. I found a local business that I was really interested in, and actually kept emailing and calling the number they had provided online, and luckily they did not block me. But eventually I was able to speak to the CEO and then jumped on as an intern. I definitely wouldn't recommend pestering the people too much, because it could actually have a very negative effect. But I don't think they recognized my number either, so I guess it worked out in my favor somehow. Okay, but let's be real here, because this is a guide for shy people, and I was a shy person. But so throughout all of this, I was actually experiencing a lot of social anxiety and imposter syndrome. Like my face would go red, I would stumble over my words. I still do, but I think I've gotten a bit better at managing it. And I felt like I had nothing to offer and also nothing to lose. So the way I got over my nerves and anxiety with making contact, whether that's asking them in person or emailing them, was simply based off something an old mentor figure in my life said to me, which was, the worst thing they can say is no. And today, that has had such a big impact on me, because you can always put yourself out there, and if the receiving end isn't open to it, you'll still be closer to your next yes. So bear that in mind next time you're applying, next time you ask someone, whether it's for an internship or an actual job role, the worst thing they can say is no. So I feel like being shy and being nervous to apply to internships and also jobs also comes from maybe the preparation side of things. So I feel like when you're prepared for these things, you can build a bit more confidence around them. So if you're worried about preparation, then I have a few things to mention, so take note of this because you might need it. So the first one is an updated CV. If you don't have any prior experience, that is okay. I think a basic CV with your education, any voluntary work, or even a short description of who you are and where you want to be could actually help you get started. However, you might have better opportunities with doing a really well done cover letter or a basic portfolio. So a cover letter is basically a letter you write to the person or the hiring manager. You can either have this in a PDF or within the email you send to reach out to them. And doing a cover letter can actually help you catch the eye of the people you want to work with, because it shows that you know who they are, you have established why you want to work for them, and also why it's worth both of your time to be mentor and mentee during this period. So really emphasize your passions and also why you're reaching out, and not just because you want work experience. And if you have a portfolio, then all the better. So a portfolio is kind of just like a little booklet, maybe even a one-pager of some of your proudest work, your best work that relates to the industry that you want to work in. So if that was film, it could be a few vlogs or maybe even a school project that you worked on. If you're going into fashion, for example, maybe a few samples of drawings you've made or things that you've produced, like dresses or things you've sewn. Somewhere that just showcases your basic but best abilities that you have so far. What goes in a basic portfolio is something I will go into another video. So if you want to see that, then comment down below and let me know what you want to see in that video. The next things is, make sure you proofread all of your content, make sure that your email is professional, and if your phone number is there, make sure it's the most updated one and you're not going to change it in like 2 weeks. And I also think a cute added touch is having an email signature. I feel like it's a cute way to show personality while sharing your most updated details. So there's definitely tutorials on TikTok that I found, or even YouTube, so you can definitely check that out. I'll link some down below. And also, speaking of personality, I would say be wary about using online templates or even AI to write these, as they may come across as ingenuine. And you don't want to bore the person who's reading this and the person who's, you're trying to work for and apply to, because they may already receive hundreds of these. So you really have to make it your own and be honest. Maybe even add humor, or maybe even share your story in a short but exciting way. Let's cut to the most important part of the conversation, which is balancing an internship for shy people. I feel like when I was younger, I was so shy that I didn't really know how to establish boundaries between work and life and school. So I really wish somebody had told me this before. So I was really off my rocker in third year for balancing a retail job, which was between 21 to 30 hours, my undergraduate projects. So that was my final year of uni. I was also managing the Filipino society, which we founded that year, and that was a really important year to establish the group. And then I was also doing the internship, my internship. And that all sounds crazy, like my week was full to the brim. But I swear, I would not trade that experience for anything else, because as crazy it was, as busy as it was so thrilling, and I learned so much in that short amount of time. Unfortunately, it was cut short because of COVID, but still, I feel like in those, I would say 6 to 8 months, I learned so much. However, word of caution is that was also a recipe for burnout. So I wouldn't recommend it, especially today. I feel like I would have approached that experience a bit more differently. I think I would have tried to have been more organized and also honest with my bandwidth. So what I would say is, please really do identify if you have time for an internship. What does that time look like based on hours? What are your priorities? And can you afford to drop any of them to do a free internship? Also, above that, please make sure that you don't sacrifice your mental health and well-being to achieve this, and be realistic with your capabilities. And lastly, I also want to make sure that you are aware that when you're applying for these roles, just remember that it's not a full-time job unless stated otherwise, which you should be getting paid for. Then you shouldn't really be expected to work large hours or to clock in at their beck and call for free. So make sure you establish that with the organization from the beginning. So I would say take ownership and communicate what days and times you can and can't work, and that works out for the organization as well. Just be professional with it. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to, try to wither and cater to what they want. Just be honest and say, I really do want to gain this experience, but these are the only times I can realistically work. Does that work for you? And then I guess see where it goes from there. And also, please make sure that it's a legit organization and not just some random group trying to take advantage of your experience and your work, because you also want to get the most out of it and learn from the right people. So the last real talk, which we will get into before we end the video, is how to deal with rejections. So it can be hard to deal with rejections at any stage of your career, even for internships. But definitely give yourself grace for trying to put yourself out there, especially if you're shy, especially if you're new to this. I feel like I've learned a term recently, which is teething problems. And you might not get offered the first internship that you apply to, but just keep trying, improve your techniques, keep putting yourself out there. And then I feel like after a while, you'll end up building the confidence, getting over your shyness. I definitely did with a few practices, that's for sure. So don't give up, because there are many more opportunities to be had. And also keep a tally of people that you've come in contact with, who has responded, and make sure to send any follow-ups and thank yous for responses that you get back personally. Just be professional with all the communications. But at the same time, please be patient with yourself and just know that it is a learning process. Alright, so my 5 key takeaways from this video and from the entire experiences would be: 1. Just remember, the worst thing they can say is no. 2. Have fun with the internships. There's definitely loads of new experiences to be had. And I think I have some of my best career stories from the times that I worked as an internship, from getting to hold the film role for Pink Floyd The Wall to working with brands like Nasty Gal. And number 3 is ask questions, because no question is a bad question. And also don't be afraid to ask them, because the people that you're working with, you're basically new there. They shouldn't expect you to know everything, and they wouldn't expect you to know everything. So use this opportunity to ask your questions. Just keep it professional. And then also number 4, which is learn to be a good listener and an observer during these experiences. So I feel like as soon as you're in the rooms that you want to be included in and you want to be working in, I would say observe how the people move there, observe how they talk, their processes. Are there any things that stand out to you? Are there any type of strategies that you can learn from them, which you can implement in future roles? And lastly, soak in the mentorship and also network with the people there, because you never know who you could be working with again in future. You know, who knows? This might also be a good way to land yourself a job after graduation or pivot into a different career. Alright, I have talked your ear enough. I hope I managed to cover as much as I can. And if there's anything I missed out that you want to know, please comment them down below and I'll be sure to answer. I'll be making more of these videos very soon. Please subscribe to stay updated. And if there's anything about career, postgraduate life, or even upskilling that you want to know, then let me know in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!